I made it.
Okay, it's 5:30. We have a quorum present for the Monday, October 16th, 2023 Norwalk WPCA meeting. We call the meeting to order. Number 2, is there any members of the public present that would like to be heard?
There are
That was a no?
That's right. There's nobody here.
Thank you. Item number 3. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the WPCA special meeting held on September 14th and the WPCA meeting held on September 18th?
Greg Burnett, so move.
Okay, Mr. Burnett, is there any comments, questions, corrections?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item number 6, authorize the Chief of Operations and Public Works to submit the facility plan update to Connecticut Deep. Mr. Igneri moved to approve the item, and then it says the motion passed unanimously, but with a 6 in favor, 1 opposed. So I think that should be amended to reflect the fact that it passed by a majority.
Yes, you are correct. Thank you. Got that, Daleen?
Yep, I got it.
Okay, and for the record, before we started the meeting, there was a misspelling in Commissioner Bovey's name, which Ms. Bird will take care of. So anything else? Any other questions, comments, corrections, revisions, edits, deletions? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor, aye. Ostafine, Bovey, Manella, Burnett, Smith. Thank you. That passes unanimously. It's 5:32. Item number 4, authorize the chairman or vice chairman of the Water Pollution Control Authority to execute an agreement with Insituform Technologies in the amount of $3,363,047.50 for sanitary sewer rehabilitation project 2023-1. Is there a motion to authorize the chairman or vice chairman? Ms. Smith is the first. Is there any presentation by staff?
Yes, yep. So the project consists of 45,300 linear feet of pipe lining, which is approximately 8.5 miles, located primarily in the Bell Island and Sandwich Street sewer sheds. We received bids for the project on September 28th. There were 3 bids received. Insituform Technologies was the lowest bidder. Brown & Caldwell, who is our consultant that's been assisting on the project, reviewed the bid packages. And we have included a letter from them with their recommendation for award. In reviewing the bid packages, they concluded that Insituform provided all the forms and bonds that were necessary. They also called their references and received feedback that their previous projects have been on budget, on schedule, and others are overall happy with their work. So we are in agreement with their recommendation.
I would add that they're working in town here, also in Darien, so they're a well-known company. Does anybody have any questions of staff or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Ostafine, Bovey, Manella, Burnett, Smith. That passes unanimously. Thank you. And it is 4:35. 5:35, excuse me. Item number 5, authorize the Chief of Operations and Public Works to issue orders on contract with Insituform Technologies for the sanitary sewer rehabilitation project. Same project number for an amount not to exceed $850,000. Is there a motion to authorize the Chief of Operations or Public Works? Mr. Bovee has that one. Is there any presentation from staff?
So this amount is for change orders that may come up during the project. It's approximately 25% of the total project value.
Any questions or comments? For staff? No questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Foster Fine Bovee Manila Burnett Smith, that passes unanimously. It's 5:36 PM. Item number 6, contract operations reports. Is that you, Matt?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me? So, okay. So the Veolia collections team completed 3.5 miles of TV inspection in the month of September. We cleaned 3.5 miles of sewer. We inspected 62 manholes, and we conducted 30 industrial pretreatment inspections as part of the IPP inspection program. The centrifuge, which we use for solids handling to make what we call cake, has been down for over a month now. We wound up sending basically the whole internals of the unit out to Wisconsin for repair. It does take some time. They do extensive testing before they send it back. We should have that back by the end of November. In the meantime, we've been hauling what we call liquid sludge, which is what we make on our gravity belt thickeners. So it's much thinner than our cake, but it does keep the plant compliant, and the plant's running great. So we hope to get the centrifuge back online here in a couple of weeks. The blend tank #1 steel repairs, I shared that last month. The steel repairs are complete, and the coating company, it sounds like as of today, they're tentatively going to be here the second week of November to begin the coatings, and it should be about a 2-week process. Then that tank will finally be completed. Now I want to touch, I'm going to share my screen real quick here. Can everybody see that? Let me do a slideshow here. So these two gentlemen you see on your screen, everyone can see that? Yep.
Yes.
So one of them is Kevin Morrison, born and raised in Norwalk, Connecticut. The other is John McGarty, born and raised in Norwalk, Connecticut. They both work for Veolia here at the wastewater treatment plant. And recently, Veolia, prior it was Suez, we got into what we call Operations Challenge. So they represent the state of Connecticut. They work closely with a few folks from the Greater New Haven team. They qualified in the regionals. What they do is they do confined space entry rescue. They do wastewater math. They do several challenges to compete to get to the World Championships, which are held at the WEFTEC in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
That was held 2 weeks ago. And let me just, as you can see here, this is John McGarty from Veolia, Norwalk, and resident of Norwalk, competing in what we call the confined space rescue out in Chicago. The team finished in the top half. It was their first year. They didn't get first, but they did very well. So I just wanted to share that with you. So they were at the World Operators Challenge in Chicago. They competed in confined space rescue, process control, pump maintenance, and pipe maintenance events. It's at a very, very large convention center in Chicago. There's all over the world, people from Japan, China competing in it. They are in what's called the C division. But as you can see here, we got them matching helmets and we got the uniforms, and all in all, it really is good to develop our operators, and it's a good opportunity for them to get out of the plant and visit Chicago and compete. And let me just stop sharing. And then lastly, in the month of September, Veolia has a very large corporation. They have an environmental, health, and safety audit team. So since last year, we knew that we were going to have a safety audit done at our facility, and that's everything from regulatory compliance to the safety railings around the facility, to our UST programs, underground storage tank programs. They do a soup to nuts audit. 5 of them descended on us for a week. We worked with them closely. And then we had a review call just last week, and I didn't know much about this. It was my first one, but Norwalk, out of all the audits ever done with Veolia and with the previous company, Suez, we had the fewest findings in audit history, which means the fewest issues. And that was great news. I mean, Jason O'Brien, who you all know, who's usually on the call, he called me and congratulated me. I didn't know what that meant, but I just want everyone to know that Veolia does audit their projects and takes things very seriously. And I was happy to report to you guys that we did very well in the audit. So for the month of September, the facility was in compliance with all permit requirements. All the reports were submitted to the state. We had one sanitary sewer overflow, which happened during a heavy rain event. And then we had two outfall 002 activations, the CSO. One was on September 10th for approximately an hour and 33 minutes. And the other one, as we all know, we got very heavy rain right at the end of the month on the 29th and 30th. We were flowing out of CSO outfall 002 for approximately 20 hours. All systems and processes were great. And last week we received all of our regulatory stuff back from the lab, and everything passed and everything went well during the event. So I'm happy to report on that. And then lastly, there is an item on the agenda. NEWIA, which is the New England Water Environment Association, is hosting a risk and resiliency conference in Stamford for the region, all the area states in New England. And John Marson, the previous project manager, and Tim Sullivan, our current collections manager, are giving a 30-minute presentation on risk and resiliency and how we use technology positively in our collection system here in Norwalk. So we're going to be sharing that with other wastewater facilities throughout the region. So hopefully they'll get something out of that. I just wanted to share that with you as well. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you for your time. And I'd just like to open up to any questions.
Burnett.
Mr. Burnett.
Yes, thank you. That's great news about the audit and the findings, the low number of findings, but I am curious as to what findings did they identify?
Okay, like a typical finding would be like on our CSO, the railings, where there's like steps or a ladder down into the tank. We have chains across it, which is okay, but they would rather see either a safety swing gate or just put in a removable railing, like a yellow safety railing. Minor things like that. Our senior vice president of EH&S, he said to the audit team that he thought they were kind of scraping to find stuff, but that is their job to find things. But things of that nature. As far as regulatory, 0 things were found for regulatory. Our regulatory compliance was absolutely perfect. Something we strive for here in Norwalk, and we put a lot of time into that when we took prior to our takeover in May of 2020, and all that hard work has paid off. But yeah, our findings were minor. Like a confined space sign was worn out a little bit, and they want us to put a new one on. Things of that nature. Nothing. I think the most major one, which could concern them, was basically netting or things you lower heavy things down into a hole. It's basically a bunch of strapping. Some of them had a little dry rot on them, and I think that's something that, like, if OSHA were to come, they look at. But they identified them, and we cut them up and threw them in the garbage. That was the worst finding they had. So, in our eyes, that's very good if that's the worst thing they can come up with.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Bennett.
Great. Any other questions for Matt? Mr. Constantine?
Not really a question. Just as a citizen of Norwalk and reading the papers and such, there's so many good things going on, and you guys are doing such a great job. I wonder if there's any way to publicize or to do some PR about all the good things that are going on at the facility and with everyone involved with it. So I don't know if that's a city function or what, but
Maybe 7B?
Well, we can also use every Wednesday on the social media. We use the DPW. We use that to push out some information. So maybe we're gonna use that on our next one, and then we can say that as well.
And I know the local newspaper, if there are press releases or what, but it seems like there's a lot of good news, and you guys are doing such a great job for the city. It would be nice.
Internally, Mr. Constantine, I can tell you that we do newsletters, things of that nature. I know Ralph has given a few. I don't want to call them plugs, but he's given us a few feedback so we can use for potential new customers in different divisions, things of that nature. So we have a good working relationship there. But anything you guys need, just let us know. I know DPW Day is next Saturday. We're helping out there. Not only do we donate to that, but we also open up the sewer plant, give tours, and I actually bought an inflatable poop emoji costume because it's Halloween. So we'll be giving out candy, and someone will be walking around dressed in that.
Mm-hmm.
But we just want the kids to have a good time, and we enjoy that.
It'd just be great to read about this in the paper, all these good things, so. Just a thought.
Yeah, thanks, Darren. Yeah, I just wanted to add though, and Ralph, you can probably clarify this, but the mayor's dashboard is back up and running, and I know that we have, some information up there, but maybe there's a way we can add to it, all this good news.
We'll have to talk to the mayor's office.
Yeah.
See if they want to use that, because usually there are some metrics that
Right.
we have already discussed with them, and that's what is being used on the dashboard.
Yeah, there is some good information up
Use
there for sure.
the PR for that, yeah.
Okay.
Great, anything else on number 6? Okay, 5:46, we move on to item number 7.
Thank you.
All right, 7A, the municipal report is included in the board package. Just one thing to note, we recently received a check in the amount of $942,000 from the town of Wilton for the fiscal year 22-23 sewer use fee. So we were a little late this year getting the invoice to them, and that's why we just received the check, and we're in the process of preparing this year's invoice currently with them. So everything else is tracking as planned at the moment. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. Otherwise, item 7B, as was noted by a couple of the members, we have Touch a Truck and Open House on October 21st. We're looking forward to all the families coming and everybody in town. I have both the English and the Spanish flyers, including the board package.
Hope you guys can make it also. Yeah.
And then items 7C and 7D, the facility plan update and the collection system master plan update amended. Both were submitted to the Connecticut DEEP on September 29th of this year. It was before the deadline of October 2nd. Copies have been included on the online agenda version from the City of Norwalk's website for download by anybody from the public. We didn't email it to the board members due to the size. I believe it's about 600-700 pages long is the download. So we were very excited to submit it to the state, and we're continuing to move on with some of the projects. Any questions on those items? All right, moving along. The next item is the financial model update. I have a copy of the task order that was signed recently with Woodard & Kern in an amount of $15,800. What we do annually is update the facility plan, the financial model for both capital and operating needs for the WPCA. So now that we have the recent plan submitted to the state, we're going to take that information and update our annual financial model, and that's going to look out at the next 10 years. So it's a 10-year plan, but we update it annually as numbers change. So we'll be talking to the board in the coming months. And then the next item is discussion of WPC engineering projects. The catch basin disconnect program, the team continues to evaluate 38 catch basins for disconnect from the city sanitary sewer. There are some catch basins on state roads or in the state right of way, and we actually had a call this morning with the state to get guidance on are they open to working with us to disconnect those catch basins from state roads. WPCA projects, of course, but we need to get their buy-in and what kind of requirements or information they want from us in order to allow us to proceed with the projects. So we had a good initial call, and we followed up with sending them some additional information, and now we'll wait to hear back on what they would like from us, our engineering team, as far as how much flow would be going into their drainage system, and maybe some other engineering calculations. The second item is Hubbell's Lane Relief Sewer. That is on Moody's Lane, and Hubbell's Lane is to install another sanitary sewer to help with capacity up by Wall Street and Smith Street. So in the last month, we did a soil boring, and we're waiting on doing some test pits of utilities and other information that's critical to the design. It's a 1-year design timeframe, and I believe it should be finished in June of next year. So we're just a little under halfway through the design. The next item is the Killebrook Pump Station Replacement Project. Couple things going on. We're continuing to negotiate a new easement agreement with Eversource. And the second thing is Wright Pierce is our consultant. They've near finished the design drawings, and staff have been reviewing them internally. And once we get the agreement with Eversource in place, we can go out to bid for the replacement of the project of the pump station. And lastly, item 4, treatment plant SCADA enhancements. The team identified some additional enhancements to the SCADA system, and they signed task orders, including the board package. And the last item is CIPP lining. We have a short video we want to share with the board. This ties into the in situ form work for Bell Island and Sandwich Street. We just want to explain what is cured in place pipelining, and this video is a great video to explain what the process is. Can everybody see the NASCO cured in place pipe technology website video?
Is everyone able to see the video?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I'll start it now.
CIPP is a method used to replace a deteriorated underground pipe without digging it up. In the simplest terms, it is a pipe within a pipe. Here's how it works. A tube made of polyester felt or fiberglass designed to the appropriate thickness and length for the application is saturated with resin. This is also referred to as the wet out process. The resin saturated tube is then installed into the existing deteriorated pipe by inverting the tube into position using water or air pressure, or by pulling the tube into place and inflating it. Once in place, the tube is cured or hardened under pressure by using either heat in the form of hot water or steam, or by using ultraviolet light. There are a number of appropriate reasons to use CIPP, including reducing infiltration or exfiltration, fixing and preventing future damage caused by roots with a jointless CIPP, addressing structural issues, or for full replacement of an old pipe that is beyond its useful life. CIPP is also appropriate when excavation and replacement of a pipe is cost prohibitive or would cause too much destruction to the surrounding area. In addition to replacing an entire length of pipe, CIPP can be used when a pipe requires preventative maintenance or repair to just a small section of the pipe, minimizing cost and disruption when one section is compromised, but the rest of the pipe is maintaining optimum flow and efficiency. CIPP is proven for lateral, mainline, and manhole repairs. Available in diameters of up to 120 inches, the most common sizes range between 8 and 48 inches. CIPP can be installed in a variety of common shapes for sewers, including round, egg-shaped, arch, and elliptical. Square or rectangular pipes can be lined, but may provide challenges when fitting the CIPP tightly against the hose pipe. Multiple bends up to 90 degrees and transitions in size and shape have been accomplished successfully and can be accommodated by custom manufacturing the CIPP to specific requirements. CIPP does not impact flow capacity and offers many other benefits, including a seamless and jointless pipe, quick installation, significant cost savings versus traditional replacement, and perhaps most importantly, the protection of our environment. Because an old pipe does not need to be dug up and disposed of, and the earth surrounding it is not significantly disturbed, sidewalks, roads, parking lots, and yards are not damaged. Protecting our carbon footprint, this green technology means the damaged pipe is repurposed or recycled by serving as the host pipe for the new cured in place pipe. The damaged pipe does not need to be hauled off to a landfill, and traffic, businesses, and neighborhoods are not significantly impacted. Cured in place pipe is a proven technology that has been used successfully since the 1970s. With hundreds of millions of feet of CIPP in service throughout the world today, it is considered the most widely accepted pipeline rehabilitation technology available and is a viable method for the repair of sewer, potable water, and pressure pipe applications. For information on CIPP safety, to download specification guidelines, and to become part of NASCO's Pipe Rehab Committee, please visit nasco.org. Thanks again to our sponsors for making this.
So next we have some updates on the construction projects.
Want to ask if anybody has any questions?
Oh, sure, sorry about that.
Video?
Questions on the video?
Yes, one question. I might have missed it, but what is that material made of?
It's a felt sock.
Excuse me for one second.
Impregnated with epoxy.
Okay.
Kind of a fiberglass.
Fiberglass, okay. I'm just, I guess I'm, I mean, it's a great idea. It looks like it's great, but I'm kind of equating it to when we went from natural grass to artificial turf, and everyone's like, wow, that's the greatest thing ever. And now we have this fiberglass lining inside of pipes. 10 years from now, we're going to say you got to pull all that fiberglass out because something's in it. And I mean, have they tested it for a long time to ensure that it's environmentally safe for years to come and it's not going to degrade, and we're going to have to dig that up and pipe at some point?
Yes, it's been in use since the 1970s.
Oh, okay.
And it's basically equivalent to PVC. Actually,
Yeah.
the chairman, Darren, if you can show that
Yeah.
again, sir.
If I could jump in here, I've personally been doing this since the 80s. And here's a section of a liner. And I can tell you, it's amazing. This particular one was cured with steam. So it's a felt liner, like Ralph said, but you would never know it from holding this in your hand. It is absolutely tougher than the original pipe. And the inside you can see is like super smooth. So you actually reduce the end value. You increase the efficiency of the pipe itself, even though you are reducing the cross-sectional area. You can see this has a thickness to it, right? So there is, when you put this in, you are making the pipe smaller, but it's kind of made up for if you have a rough pipe with the smooth surface, which allows the water to flow through much better. I can tell you, if you were here with an axe, you can whack this thing and you barely scratch it. And it has been in service for a long, long time.
Yeah. And the useful life, just like PVC, is at 50 years. They typically give a 10-year warranty, and its useful life is 50 years. Just like PVC. Norwalk has used it since the early 90s, is my understanding. I don't know if we have any from the 1980s. Oh, Chris may be able to add more.
I would say about 1989 or 1990, the first job I did there was on South Main Street from like the trestle past the new police station, down towards whatever, Concord Street. I would say 1989 or 1990.
And the latest addition technology-wise is this UV curing, which they mentioned in the video. It usually comes in a refrigerated truck, believe it or not, like this giant refrigerated truck. And they either hit it with steam or hot water, like the video says. The latest technology, though, is UV. And I don't know how that works, but they drag a UV light through there and it hardens up like almost instantly. Really the only nerve-wracking part of it is drilling out all the laterals. They actually go in with a robot and have to drill the hole for each connection into the sewer from your house, for example.
And larger diameter pipes, they actually physically go in and manually cut them. Person goes in, 30-inch pipe, 30-inch diameter or larger, and they go down and they actually physically cut out each lateral connection.
I've never seen that.
Can I just ask if, the city's been using it since about 1990, 50 years is not that far off. What is the process when this starts to break down? You just put in another liner?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay. I mean, and it's worth, just piggybacking on Greg's comments. It's like, are we aware of PFAS? I think, the real concern, of course, is PFAS. That's what we're talking about. And are there any reports of PFAS in this product? And is it something we need to be concerned about? And we probably don't know, right? Because PFAS are everywhere. So, it's just something to have an awareness about for sure.
Ralph?
I don't know that, to be honest, I don't have an answer about PFAS.
Maybe they have a
We go
MSDS
ask-
sheet that you could share to answer some of these questions next meeting or something.
Yep, and then once we get in situ form online, we will definitely ask them too, if it's been tested. The one good thing is where we're lining Bell Island and Sandwich Street, it's asbestos cement pipe. Meaning if you dig it up, it's hazardous waste. So the lining it is the best thing. You basically encapsulate the asbestos pipe in the ground. And that way it provides a 50-year useful life or longer. And you can actually even line sewer laterals. So folks that have maybe asbestos cement pipe for sewer laterals, highly recommend it.
Any other questions on CIPP? Right, it's 6:03. Maybe we can move on to 7G.
Okay, yep. Thank you. I'm going to go through the discussion on the construction projects. For the Wall Street Night Street project, the abandonment of the 30-inch sewer main was successfully completed in September. The contractor is just finishing up the paving work for that project. For collection system updates, we have the Dreamy Hollow project. We have the installation of water main services along Saddle Road. Each water service requires a new tap and copper pipe. From the tap to the curb stop, you can see the copper piping here in these photos. I didn't know it was a live photo, so but also kind of cool. But for the pump station updates, we have 5 Mile. The contractor just finished coating the upper portion of the wet well and the interior of the wet well. Here we can see the newly coated interior and the coated upper portion of the wet well. We've also been working on the installation of the new pumps and piping. The electrical wiring for the pumps is currently in progress and is scheduled to be completed around October 19th. That's when they're hoping to start up the pump station. We have some nice photos here of the Karen Drive pump station. The exterior has been newly paved. So just wanted to include those in here.
And it's completed.
Yep, and the work at this pump station has been completed. For the sewer appeal status and adjustment updates, I think that concludes the construction photos. So
Any questions on G? I have one small question. I noticed a temporary generator. Are we gonna have a permanent generator there?
That is the permanent generator.
It sits on a trailer?
Yes, it's on wheels because of where it's located. It's in a flood area that if the site floods, we can pull the generator out if needs be.
Oh, okay.
We have a couple stations where we have generators on wheels just in case.
Maybe you should put it on floats so that in case the power goes out while it's flooding. Any other questions on G? No. Okay, it's 6:05 H.
Yep, we have the sewer use appeal status. We're currently at 24,113. There has been no change from last month.
Questions on H? None. I, information copies, none. Are there any questions on anything contained herein or not contained herein? Is there a motion to adjourn? Mr. Bovee, all in favor? Ostafine, Bovee, Manella, Burnett, Smith. It's unanimous. It is 6:06 PM. Good to see you all. I guess
Good
I'll see
night.
you in November.
Right.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Take care.
Stop recording.
Thank you.